So not only is Netflix adding a ton of great stuff in June, but they're also bringing some of the best stuff back, including but not limited to The Witcher for Season 3, Extraction 2, and Black Mirror Season 6. That's right, in this video I'm going to tell you about all the best stuff Netflix is adding in June. At the end of the video, I'll show you everything leaving in the month of June, and the full list of everything getting added, including things not discussed in this video, can be found in the top pinned comment, as always. This video is sponsored by Sundays for Dogs, but I'll tell you more about them later in the video. Right now, I want to tell you about everything they're adding on June 1st. Now, Black Mirror Season 6 is coming in June, but they do not have an official date, so it's going to likely be a surprise, and it's likely part of the marketing of this show. If you've never seen this sci-fi series, it's easily one of the best being produced today, if not one of the best ever created. I highly recommend going back and checking out some of the old episodes. The great thing is, you can watch them in any order, because it is an anthology series. And the new season looks like it's stacked with a really killer cast, but Black Mirror fans would probably agree that the episode Crocodile with Andrea Riseborough is the darkest of the entire series, and she stars in To Leslie, which was a 2023 release that is coming to Netflix on June 1st. This is an indie drama where she actually plays a woman who's the winner of the lottery, who doesn't just blow all the money, but really kind of blows her shot at life and ruins her life, not just as a result of the lottery, but it looks like heavy stuff, but there's some great character actors in this as well, so this is going to be one of the better drama picks for the month. Also on June 1st, they're adding The Days, which is a Japanese drama series about the days leading up to the 2011 Fukushima nuclear disaster. If it's even just a fraction of as good as the Chernobyl series was over on HBO, then I'm definitely going to be interested in this one. They're also going to be adding David Lynch's Dune, which I know he sort of disowns this movie, and quite honestly, I've never been a fan of it, but I do know it has a following, and even though it's not the best primer for Dune Part 2 coming out in theaters later this year, still could be a fun watch. They're also going to be adding End of Days, which I actually think is kind of an underrated Arnold movie. It has its silly moments, but it's also really dark for an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. It's almost kind of a possession type thing, and it's got plenty of action in it, and a pretty sick soundtrack for something that came out in the late 90s. So a little outdated, yes, but still a pretty badass watch for June. Another underrated badass movie is HANNA. I really enjoyed this one back when it came out. I really don't understand why it wasn't a bigger hit. I think it's a great production, great fight choreography, really cool score put together by the Chemical Brothers, a fantastic villain performance from Cate Blanchett. I mean, this movie really fires on all cylinders and is one of my higher recommendations for the month if you've never seen it. But for some classics everybody has seen, they're going to be bringing back the Bill Murray classic Groundhog Day, which is just one of those rare movies that just never gets old no matter how many times you see it. They're also bringing back Hook, which is just kind of unparalleled in the category of family movies. It's so epic with the big sets and all these huge sequences, amazing performances. I mean, forget that it came out even in the early 90s. This movie still holds up today, and not as a nostalgic watch. If you enjoyed this as a kid like I did, it will make a great nostalgic watch with your family, but kids that have never seen this, it is a mind-blowingly good flick. Some of my other top picks for the month include Jarhead, the original one, none of the sequels I've really liked, Magic Mike. Yes, I do recommend this movie. It's actually really well done and has some very interesting characters, including one from Matthew McConaughey that I think is really underrated in this movie. Mean Girls, I don't know that I've ever seen that on Netflix. Don't know that I'm going to see it in June, but it still is a pretty highly rated movie. And then the entire Sam Raimi Spider-Man trilogy, which are almost all fantastic. Personally, not a big fan of Part 3, but the first two are really amazing and stand out, and I think are still some of the best Spider-Man movies they've ever made, and I like the Tom Holland ones. But they're also adding quite possibly the greatest sequel ever made, Terminator 2: Judgment Day. Still, to this day, easily one of James Cameron's best movies, which just says a lot because he has made easily the most commercially successful movies in the history of filmmaking. But you want to talk about movies that hold up? Terminator 2: Judgment Day is still easily my top 5 movies of all time. And then kind of an underrated gem is Unleashed, starring Jet Li and Morgan Freeman. And not just Morgan Freeman, but a blind, Morgan Freeman. He's fantastic in this movie. So is Bob Hoskins as the main villain. He really kills it. And Jet Li is amazing. He actually gives a really incredible performance with, I don't know that he speaks a word in this movie. If he does most of it with no language whatsoever, and is actually a really exceptional actor, and it's really on full display in this one. Plus, it's got kind of a cool, grungy style to it as well. If you love fight movies, Unleashed is going to be your best bet for June. And then just for something funny, We're the Millers is also getting added on the 1st. I think this is a really funny movie. If you've been a fan of Ted Lasso and you somehow skipped this gem, don't miss it while it's on Netflix. Now keep in mind, this is just June 1st. There's a lot more getting added throughout the month, but before we talk about all the new stuff, let me show you something super cute. So here is my dog Peanut's first appearance on Flick Connection. And here is her second. She doesn't get a whole lot of camera time, mainly because she's old enough to buy a ticket to a rated R movie. That's right, she's hanging in there, but she's been having trouble digesting her food lately. But today's sponsor has come to the rescue recently. Sundays for Dogs is actually air-dried dog food made from a short list of human-grade ingredients. And that's because little Peanut here has had trouble digesting regular dog food. In fact, we thought we were giving her good dog food, and we thought her days were numbered because she just was not able to digest it. But she digests Sundays just great, and she loves the way it tastes. And that's because Sundays contains 90% meat, human-grade meat, meaning it's safe for you and me to eat, 10% vegetables and 0% synthetic ingredients. But unlike other fresh dog foods, Sundays is shelf stable, which means you just leave it in the cabinet, pour it in the bowl like regular dog food, and there's no mess or prep. But Peanut over here is still getting all the nutrients that she would get from really fresh dog food because Sundays is simply air dried. And Sundays cost 40% less than other healthy dog food brands because they don't have to ship you frozen packages or anything like that. They can just focus on the all natural ingredients. But my viewers get an extra 35% off that when they go to sundaysfordogs.com/flick, or just go to sundaysfordogs.com and use my code FLICK at checkout. And Sundays ships right to your door, so there's never any need to buy dog food again. Again, go to that link in the description, use my code FLICK to get 35% off. It's a great deal. Get your dog some Sundays, and let's move on with the rest of the movies on this list. The hit series Manifest returns for Season 4, Part 2. This will be the conclusion to the series if you've been watching that. And then part of the reason for having some Arnold Schwarzenegger movies added this month is they're adding a new limited series called Arnold that's all about Arnold Schwarzenegger. It's going to cover his rise in bodybuilding, acting, and politics. Should be pretty interesting. I've always been a fan of his and so the things he's achieved in his life, so it'll be interesting to get a closer look in this series. And no matter how many times you guys mention it in the comments, I don't have any relation to Richard Rawlings from Gas Monkey Garage, but if you like that show, Netflix has got something for you this month. Tex-Mex Motors looks like a really fun show for gearheads. It's about a garage that brings in these old heaps and turns them into really cool rides. It looks like something I've seen a dozen times before, but there's nothing really like this on Netflix yet, so hopefully this is a decent production.
He's coming back round.
He's coming back round! On the 12th, they're going to be adding Christopher Nolan's Dunkirk. This is not one of my favorite movies of his, but it is an excellent World War II drama. It covers some amazing elements of that story and does it in a fantastic way. They're using a lot of real boats and, replica planes and things with little to no CGI. It's pretty fantastic stuff. If you've not seen this one, I highly recommend it. And even if you have seen it, I promise you, Dunkirk is so much more rewatchable than you might think. On the 14th, they add Our Planet 2. And just like all the productions where Sir Richard Attenborough is doing the narration, it looks like they captured some of the most stunning moments. It's not just that the photography here is amazing, and it is, but the things that they're capturing in nature on these series are absolutely amazing. So you can bet I'll be watching this one. And then on the 16th, Chris Hemsworth comes back for Extraction 2. If you haven't seen the first Extraction, I highly recommend it. It is a beat 'em up, shoot 'em up type of an action movie, but it's really well done, especially for something that's a Netflix original. The action is really well choreographed. There's multiple sequences in the first Extraction that are filmed as if they're one long take, and it's, again, top-notch stuff, especially for a Netflix original. I'm sure you won't need to watch the first one to follow the second, but it's good. I highly recommend checking out that first one to get primed and ready for part 2 on the 16th. Another really great drama gets added on the 16th, Unbroken. This is an amazing POW drama movie that's actually directed by Angelina Jolie, but you would never really know that. Jack O'Connell is really fantastic in this movie, and he actually did lose weight for this role. Not that that really matters, but it does help if you know that the actors are really invested into it, and this is ultimately a pretty high-end production, but it is upsetting stuff, so this isn't the type of movie to just throw on a whim. They're also going to be adding the Keanu Reeves movie 47 Ronin, but my goodness, Keanu Reeves has been in some of the greatest action movies of all time, not just John Wick, and 47 Ronin is certainly not one of them. There's an upsetting-looking Netflix original docu-series getting added on the 19th called Take Care of Maya, which looks incredibly disturbing. This is actually a case from 2017 where a doctor was accusing parents of child abuse and really just kind of tore a family apart and worse. And the documentary will look at things like how judges defer to doctors over family. And like I said, the details of this particular case are pretty upsetting. But over on the 22nd, they're adding an interesting looking animated project titled Skull Island, which actually revolves around some of the monster-verse creatures from Warner Brothers, King Kong, Godzilla. I think I'm maybe a little too old for this, but it does look like it's targeted at fans of those movies, and I know that's me, but I doubt I'm gonna be watching the show. If I haven't recommended enough drama yet, on the 26th, they're gonna be bringing back the Imitation Game. This stars Benedict Cumberbatch in easily one of his best leading roles, and it's actually about the invention of the first computer and how it was actually used to help defeat the Nazis' coding machines. It's really interesting stuff. The production is really well done in this movie as well. On the 28th, they're adding another docu-series that looks incredibly wild. It's titled Muscles and Mayhem, and it's actually about the show American Gladiators, but not just the show, it's really about all the wild stuff that went on behind the scenes, and it too sounds like it's got some disturbing twists and turns in it.
I mean, those contracts, they're illegal today, and I think we're the reason why.
Run, Rabbit, Run looks like an incredibly creepy thriller type thing, but it does look like it's a bit of a slow burn. Sarah Snook from Succession stars in this. Whew, that was hard to say, but it looks good, yet if you're looking for some jump scares and some more fast-paced horror, this is probably not going to be the pick for you. In fact, this looks like it's got a little bit in common with the movie Goodnight Mommy, so if you're a fan of that one, this may be well worth looking at. And then on the 29th, The Witcher returns for Season 3. Sorry folks, Season 3, Part 1. You know they like to do this. This is actually going to be Henry Cavill's last outing as The Witcher. However, there's already a couple of different spin-offs. There's the one with Michelle Yeoh, there's an animated thing. I anticipate Netflix to do even more with The Witcher, even though the character of Geralt may not carry on. And then before showing you everything leaving in the month of June, they're adding one big, fantastic looking family movie titled Nimona. This is about a shape-shifting girl. The animation style looks really cool, and it looks like it's got a bunch of great moments in it. There tends to be one big animated movie for the family on Netflix every month that's pretty fantastic, and this looks like the standout for June. But here is everything they're removing in the month of June. If you're new to these videos, welcome. Definitely consider clicking that subscribe button, but please note, the date listed is the date that it is gone, which means you can no longer watch it on that date. Make sure you watch it prior to the date listed. I've gone ahead and put some in bold in this list that I've recommended before, so you can be sure to catch those before they're gone, but just pause the screen if you need more time. But that is the list. Thanks again to Sundays for sponsoring this video and for helping my dog finally digest her food properly. Go check out their link in the description to get that discount, but I will keep making these videos as long as you keep watching them. Thanks for checking out this special Netflix episode, and you will see me on the next one.